Welcome back to Mindset English, and thank you so much for clicking on this video. Today we are going to learn through one of the most emotional, inspiring, and powerful real-life stories. This is not just the story of a man, but the story of dreams, struggles, pain, hope, hard work, rejection, belief, and victory. It's the story of a boy born in a small house in India, a boy with no mobile phone, no laptop, and sometimes not even a proper chair to study. Today, that boy is one of the most powerful CEOs in the world. He leads Google and Alphabet, two of the most influential tech giants. This is the story of Sundar Pichai. Most people dream, but very few turn dreams into reality. Many want success, but only a few have the patience, the humility, and the courage to walk the long, difficult path to greatness. Sundar Pichai's story proves that you don't need to be born rich to become successful. You don't need luxury or expensive clothes. What you truly need is a burning desire to learn, a never-give-up attitude, and a humble heart. If you're someone who's struggling, thinking of giving up, or feeling like the world is unfair, this story is for you. Listen carefully, because this story might just change how you see your life. This is not only a biography, but a guide, a light for anyone who is walking through darkness. This story is perfect for learning English because it is simple, clear, and inspiring. It contains real-life vocabulary you can use to talk about goals, failure, effort, success, and motivation. So while you listen, you're not only being inspired, you're improving your English too. Let us go back to the year 1972, to a crowded and lively city called Madurai in the southern part of India. On June 10, 1972, a boy named Pichai Sundararajan was born into a modest middle-class family. The world now knows him as Sundar Pichai. His father, Raghunatha Pichai, was an electrical engineer who worked for a British company called GEC. He worked with circuits and designs, often coming home tired but always made time for his family. Sundar's mother, Lakshmi, was a stenographer, a person who writes in shorthand. But she left her job to raise her children. The family lived in a small two-room apartment in Ashoknagar, Chennai, which was then known as Madras. The house didn't have a television or a refrigerator. They didn't own a car. There was only one fan in the house, and during hot summer days, the heat became almost unbearable. But the family never complained. They were content and grateful for what they had. Sundar shared one room with his younger brother. That room was their living room during the day and their bedroom at night. Sometimes relatives stayed with them, and space became even tighter. Yet inside that small home were dreams that were anything but small. From an early age, Sundar was full of questions. He was curious about everything: how telephones worked, how electricity moved, how machines were built. He often asked his father these questions, and his father patiently answered them. This early exposure taught Sundar the value of knowledge, and how the world is built by people who think deeply and work hard. They got their first telephone only when Sundar was 12 years old. It was a rotary phone. You had to spin the dial to call someone. And Sundar amazingly could remember every phone number after dialing it just once. His family soon realized that he had a special gift. Though brilliant, Sundar was never arrogant. He was soft-spoken, shy, and polite. He sat at the back of his class but always scored the highest marks. He studied at Jawahar Vidyalaya, a school that wasn't fancy but had good teachers. He loved mathematics and science. He didn't study just to pass exams. He studied because he genuinely enjoyed learning. He didn't have expensive books or paid tuition classes. He borrowed books, used whatever resources were available, and never wasted time. Later, he studied at Vanavani School inside the IIT Madras campus. Seeing brilliant minds around him made him dream bigger. One day, I want to go to a top college. 2. Years of hard work and discipline paid off when he got admission to IIT Kharagpur, one of the most prestigious engineering colleges in India. It was a life-changing moment, not just for him, but for his entire family. A shy, humble boy who had grown up in a home without a computer or even a fan during summer was now entering a world of top-class education. At IIT, Sundar chose to study metallurgical engineering, the science of metals and materials. You might wonder, why not computer science? The truth is, Sundar didn't come from a background where computers were common. In fact, during his first days at IIT, he had never touched a real computer. But he was curious, and that curiosity made him visit the computer lab often. He observed, listened, and learned. Many of his classmates came from big cities and rich families. They had fluent English, stylish clothes, and high confidence. Sundar felt out of place at times, but he didn't let that stop him. Instead of comparing himself to others, he focused on improving himself. He worked harder than anyone. While others were out socializing, Sundar was in the lab, reading, coding, and learning. His professors noticed his calm intelligence. One even said, "Sundar Pichai is one of the most promising students I've ever seen." During his final year, Sundar applied to Stanford University in the U.S., one of the world's top universities, and he got selected. But here came a massive challenge. The flight ticket to the U.S. cost around $1,000 at that time, more than his father's entire yearly salary. They had no credit cards, no crowdfunding, no international bank accounts. But his father didn't hesitate. He borrowed money, used all his savings, and took a loan because he believed in his son's dream. Sundar flew to California with one suitcase, a mind full of curiosity, and tears in his mother's eyes. When he reached Stanford, he was amazed. The culture, the people, the food, everything was new. He missed home badly, but when he saw a computer with internet access for the first time, he was stunned. Back home, he had never experienced anything like it. He took full advantage of this opportunity. He studied material sciences and engineering at Stanford with complete focus. He sat in the front row, asked questions, and learned from world-class professors. He even saved money from his small stipend and waited to buy a backpack he liked, instead of spending impulsively. That shows how carefully he planned every step. After Stanford, Sundar worked with a few companies including Applied Materials. Later, he joined Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania to do an MBA. There, he received 2 of the highest honors, Siebel Scholar and Palmer Scholar, given to the top students. Imagine this: a boy who didn't have a mobile phone growing up, now studying in the same classrooms as future billionaires. But Sundar never became arrogant. He remained humble and grounded. Eventually, he applied for a job at a growing company called Google. It was 2004. Google was known for its search engine, but it wasn't the giant we know today. Sundar prepared intensely for the interview. On the day, he walked into Google's modest office. He wasn't the loudest or most confident person in the room, but he was clear, focused, and insightful. He was asked, "What would you improve about Google?" He suggested making the homepage simpler, building tools around the search engine, and thinking long-term. He spoke with clarity and originality, and he got the job. Sundar was hired as a product manager, a role where understanding users, planning, features, and thinking ahead is more important than just coding. His first assignment was the Google Toolbar, a tool that allowed people to search from their browser directly. It wasn't a glamorous project, but Sundar took it seriously. He studied how users searched, what slowed them down, and what made the experience smoother. His improvements helped Google grow massively in its early years. While working on the toolbar, Sundar noticed that most users were browsing on Internet Explorer or Firefox, browsers that were slow and filled with problems. He had an idea. What's he? If Google made its own browser? Many seniors said no. It was risky, expensive, and out of Google's area of expertise. But Sundar didn't give up. He created prototypes, gathered a small team, and kept pushing the idea until Google's co-founder, Larry Page, finally said yes. That browser became Google Chrome. When Chrome launched in 2008, it was fast, clean, and easy to use. People loved it. In a few years, Chrome became the world's most used browser, and Sundar Pichai became a rising star inside Google. He proved he could lead teams, build products, and most importantly, put the user first. After Chrome, Sundar led improvements on Gmail, Google Drive, Google Maps, and even Android. He was never loud or controlling. He listened, respected his team, and gave people space to innovate. But he always asked one question: how does this help the user? This philosophy made every product he touched more successful. In August 2015, something incredible happened. Google's founders, Larry Page and Sergey Brin, announced that Sundar Pichai would be the new CEO of Google. The tech world was shocked, but those inside Google weren't. They had seen Sundar's leadership, vision, humility, and intelligence for years. He wasn't just a CEO. He was a builder, a thinker, a kind human being. The boy who grew up in a two-room apartment in Chennai, who stood in lines to use a phone, who didn't even touch a computer until he came to the U.S., was now in charge of a company that controls the internet for billions of people. This was no longer a dream. This was real life, but with great power comes great pressure. And that's what this chapter is all about. Sundar walked into the office on his first day as CEO without bodyguards, without shouting, without a dramatic press conference. No big speech, no loud words, just a warm smile, a quiet presence, and a confident walk. He stepped into a room full of Google's top executives. He didn't start by talking about profits or numbers. He simply asked, "What's best for our users? What can we do that truly helps the world?" This was the kind of leader he was: simple, thoughtful, user-focused, and deeply human. Being CEO of Google is not like running a small company. It's more like being a global leader. Why? Because Google touches billions of lives daily through search, YouTube, Gmail, Maps, Android. Millions of businesses rely on it through advertising and cloud services. Governments and schools depend on its tools. Every single decision Sundar made would be seen, judged, and discussed globally. If he made a mistake, it would be on the news. If he fired someone, it would trend on social media. If he launched a new product, the entire tech world would analyze it. So how did he handle that kind of pressure? Calmly, softly, powerfully. He didn't panic. He didn't play politics. He didn't attack critics. He did what he always did. He listened, thought deeply, and then spoke with clarity. Soon after Sundar became CEO of Google, another huge change happened. Google's co-founders, Larry Page and Sergey Brin, decided to step back and create a new parent company called Alphabet Inc. This would be the umbrella under which Google, YouTube, DeepMind, Waymo, self-driving cars, and other ambitious projects would exist. Guess what? In December 2019, Sundar Pichai was made the CEO of Alphabet too. Yes. Now, Sundar wasn't just responsible for Google. He was responsible for YouTube, Google Cloud, Google Search, self-driving cars, DeepMind's artificial intelligence, health tech projects, moonshots, everything. It was like being the captain of 10 massive ships at once, each with its own engine, team, and mission. Still, he didn't panic. He led with strategy, with balance, with humility. Being a tech CEO at this level means you're not just managing engineers and products. You're also dealing with politicians, courts, activists, the public, the media, and here are some of the major storms Sundar faced and how he handled them. The U.S. Congress hearings, 2018 and 2018, Sundar was called to testify before the United States Congress. Why? because lawmakers were concerned about user data privacy, political bias in search results, and monopoly power. It was tense. Cameras were live. Every word he said could become breaking news. Powerful politicians sat across from him. The pressure was enormous, but Sundar remained calm. He explained how Google's technology works in simple, clear words. He didn't use tech jargon. He made it human. He repeated one key message. We do not manually control search results. We use algorithms to deliver the most relevant results to users. He didn't argue. He didn't get defensive. He educated. That day, the world saw Sundar not just as a tech guy, but as a communicator, a global leader, a voice of reason. The employee protests. Even inside Google, not everything was perfect. Employees protested certain military contracts. Some spoke out about pay inequality. Others demanded stronger ethical policies for AI. Did Sundar hide? No. He organized town halls. Let employees ask tough questions, directly. He didn't shut them down. He listened, responded, took steps to make change. He didn't try to be a boss. He tried to be a listener, a bridge, a problem solver. Meanwhile, innovation continued. Under Sundar's leadership, Google invested deeply in AI, using it for health, care, language translation, maps, education, and search. He pushed for smarter tools, not just flashier ones. Google Cloud grew into a massive business, serving companies all over the world. Android became even more dominant. Pixel phones got better and smarter. Google Maps turned into a global lifeline. YouTube became a platform not just for entertainment, but for education and activism. Sundar didn't just maintain what Google already had. He created the future. And through it all, he never forgot where he came from. He often speaks to students in India and across the world. He tells kids from small towns, "Your dreams are valid." He reminds them, humility, kindness, and curiosity matter more than degrees or titles. In one interview, he said, "Success comes not from where you start, but how far you're willing to go." This is who he became, a man who leads billions, influences world decisions, and still lives by simple values. Family life. Sundar is married to Anjali Pichai, the same girl who supported him during college, even when he didn't have money for a phone call. They have 2 children. Despite his schedule, Sundar makes time for family. He's not just a CEO. He's a husband, a father, a friend. His personal habits. He starts each day with tea and a newspaper. He walks. He thinks deeply. He reads books about psychology, technology, and human behavior. He reflects more than he reacts. He doesn't chase luxury. He chases clarity. Hobbies? He loves cricket, follows sports, sometimes cooks simple Indian dishes with his wife. Friends say, he's still the same Sundar from college, humble, thoughtful, full of ideas. What's most inspiring? He never shows off. Simple clothes, soft voice, never talks about money or fame. always talks about ideas, about how to make people's lives better. In today's world, where everyone wants attention, Sundar wants impact. In one interview, someone asked, "Why don't you act like other billionaires? You live so simply." He smiled and said, "My goal was never to be rich. My goal was to be useful, powerful, right?" Today, Sundar Pichai is respected worldwide. He's been on Time magazine's list of the 100 most influential people multiple times. World leaders invite him to speak about AI, climate change, and digital rights. Still, whenever he's praised, he says the same thing. "It's not about me. It's about the team. I just had good people around me." Now let's talk about his financial success. As of 2025, net worth estimated at over $1.5 billion, annual salary around $240 million including bonuses and stock rewards, home a beautiful eco-friendly house in Los Altos Hills, surrounded by trees and peace. Not gold statues and helicopters, cars, Tesla Model S, BMW 7 Series, Range Rover, but rarely seen flaunting them. He still drinks cutting chai when visiting India. Still reads Tamil newspapers when he finds the time. Some of Sundar's most unforgettable quotes. Wear your failures as a badge of honor. Failure doesn't mean you are weak. It means you are growing. A person who is happy is not because everything is right in his life. He is happy because his attitude towards everything is right. As a leader, it's important not just to focus on your own success, but to lift others. Be impatient to learn. Be patient when applying what you learn. Follow your dreams. Do something that excites you. Let's end this powerful journey with timeless lessons from Sundar's life. Your background does not define your future. He came from a simple home. No car, no fridge, no computer. But he had dreams. Be curious. Always learning. He loved learning. Even as CEO, he reads daily. He listens more than he speaks. Stay humble. He never became arrogant. Real strength is quiet. Real greatness whispers. Choose kindness over ego. Even when criticized, he stayed calm, used truth, not anger. Success is not just about money. It's about usefulness. His goal wasn't to be rich. It was to be helpful. Believe in your own journey. He could have given up many times, but he didn't. He believed. And that made all the difference. Sundar Pichai's story is more than the story of a CEO. It's the story of a boy with big dreams who kept going even when no one believed in him. Let this be your reminder. You don't need to be born rich. You don't need perfect English. You don't need to have the best connections. You need just one thing, a fire inside you to learn, to grow, and to never stop. If Sundar's story inspired you, if you believe in your own dreams even a little more, now, then subscribe to this channel, share this video, let others hear this story, let others believe. Here on Mindset English, we tell you real stories, teach you real English, and help you become the best version of you. This is not the end. This is your beginning. Go now. Dream. Work. Grow. You are the next Sundar Pichai, and the world is waiting for your story.